after some technical difficulties.
Hooray!
Berserkers are going down, but the outsider commandos are still
Now, how many
incoming.
times have I done
Repeat,
this fight?
Still incoming.
I'm curious.
I need everyone
You
out
did
of
it
the
that time when you weren't recording.
Yeah, I did do it. Actually, it was right about here that I got when I realized that.
We were talking about the contents of like a Merc's wallet, I think, before we realized that
Yeah,
Actually fighting
you
things
were
again.
playing without streaming or whatever.
yeah.
And we were like, wait, what? Recording?
Oopsie daisies. Yes, regenerating health. Oh, wow, that sounded. Ow.
Sorry, that didn't hurt your ears, did it?
It wasn't that bad. It was just very
It was-
strange.
I don't know. I would say that was about as bad as the static.
That's pretty bad then, probably.
I'm sorry, I couldn't resist.
Look out!
I thought we weren't doing that this week. Whatever.
While I shoot more things.
I've lost visuals.
Come on. I know you're back there.
Is that another Quarian ship in the distance?
Just a second and I'll look at it.
There's
No.
yeah, go look at it. No, what are you doing? Don't look away from the combat. It's like, what you said, look at the ship.
That definitely does look like a Quarian ship. Huh. Where are we? We're into... We're...
We're on Corliss. It's a junk world.
Okay. Why are there actual junk worlds? That's just like such a silly sci-fi trope.
Get through my shield.
I guess there's this idea. Maybe it stems from this. I guess this idea. This dream almost that we have like there are enough planets in the galaxy that like we don't have to worry about pollution on our own worlds. Instead, that we just have designated worlds where we dump all of our pollution.
Because obviously
we've got-
you want to pay for interstellar shipping on your junk.
Yeah.
Because we've got garden worlds to spare.
Under cover. Oh.
Nope, wrong one. There we go.
Now, mind you, there is a junk world in this game that I think is actually pretty justified. Namely Tuchanka.
Oh yeah, that's not... It's not just a junk world, though. It's just a world that has lots of junk.
It is a world which was formerly not a junk world and then got blown up.
Yeah.
I was actually kind of disappointed with Tuchanka.
Yeah.
I didn't imagine like the deserts and the well, I think the big thing was the sprawling cityscapes, or like the implication of the sprawling cityscapes. I figured, like,
Yeah, I mean,
I think I figured that Krogans, that they had like fairly maybe like 20th century technology where they had radios and rocketry.
Yeah.
But like they were still it was still like fairly simple and kind of tribal in a way.
Yeah.
yeah,
Not in the
case
sense
someone
of.
doesn't know Mass Effect 2, Tuchanka is the Krogan world.
And I think
No one mentioned that.
I just took it as assumed because I don't know. I'm pretty sure the name was probably mentioned in Mass Effect 1.
I don't
But-
think it was it. I don't
I
remember.
don't know.
Can't see him.
Yeah, I'm almost certain that Rex had to have mentioned it.
Yeah, I mean, in Mass Effect 1, Rex is like, okay, we were tribal, we have this ancestral armor that was used recently enough that it hasn't turned to dust and so on. And, that doesn't really make you think of a big place with cityscapes. It's possible they could have built it while they were busy getting rid of the,
I figured his armor. I figured that was like just kind of like basic metal plate or whatever.
Yeah, not like...
Not
Modern
bone or
armor.
anything.
Well, you have to remember that the
Still, ceremonial armor died off a long time ago.
the Rachni War
Yeah,
happened
so-
like 300 years ago or something.
2000.
At 2000?
2000.
Was it that long ago?
Was like the Rachni War was 2,000 years ago, and then within the past, I don't remember, like few hundred years was the Krogan rebellions.
Okay.
So, I mean, it's
but
possible that the Krogan cityscapes could have been built in the intervening time between the
Well, I think
Rachni
the
Wars.
Krogan
Well,
rebellions.
sure, but I guess I imagined that Tuchanka had more varied terrain, like there may, like, you know, I don't know, like all different kinds of places that reptiles would hang out. Like, you know, you would have like some deserts, of course, sure, but I was also thinking of like, you know, jungles and things. Like when Rex was talking about his like, you know, where they bury the dead. I don't know, for some reason I imagined kind of like
yeah, planets of all one terrain type are a tradition going all the way back to Star Trek. You can't do anything about it now.
They've nuked it at least once. Crap.
Sure, but I was kind of hoping for some more varied and interesting.
Well, we don't see much
terrain.
either.
Yeah, I know.
We see more Mass Effect 3, and you don't see anything that's not Wasteland, but
that's all we get is Wasteland, though, and I was just...
You know what would be neat? If the Wasteland cityscape in Tuchanka was brightly colored, kind of like, you know, Mirror's Edge world, except blown up. That would be cool. You know, I mean, I guess it makes sense for the junk to be rusted and nasty.
But what about the terrain? There should be something that's not.
Well, you were in a city. You usually don't put those where the terrain is too treacherous.
Yeah.
Impressive shot.
Oh,
I guess
Garrus, why you
could say it
die?
was an X-city, but...
Garrus, get up. Come on. No? Okay. See anything interesting to look at? No, no. Some ammo?
Garrus, you okay, buddy?
Not at all.
Still conked from the party.
Apparently. Conked from something, that's for sure. What happened there?
Huh?
There was a dude that just it looked like he got hit in the back is what happened. Like there was a guy that shot a rocket and hit him from behind him. Is what it looked like.
Morden just ate a rocket.
I missed it.
Morden, why are you so dumb?
You know, I wonder how these guys coordinate. I mean, yes, there's whatever her name is shouting at them over the intercom, but we never ever see them radioing tactical information back.
Yeah, that's a good
You
point.
kind of got, and you know, actually, that kind of makes me think of something. In Half-Life 2, you kind of got the sense that the Combine were kind of relaying orders to each other.
Yeah, I
I've
mean,
seen
there was
games
no,
like
one
done that
figure,
before.
and you could tell that they all had some kind of transmitter that went off and you killed them.
Like, and you could,
You know, they were all kind of muttering to each other.
and you could see them do.
Used to like a force that was working together than these guys. You know, who at least there's someone shouting at them over an intercom.
Yeah, which is unusual.
I mean,
Which
you
is
can argue.
unusual. Usually they're just, you know, magically coordinated. Whereas in Half-Life, you know, they actually seemed like a fighting force that, you know, they were actually working together by some means other than magic. Although, mind you, not many games have fighting forces that work together using something other than magic, so...
You can argue that they've got, like, I guess, like, radios inside their helmets, but,
And you just can't hear them.
But even then, we're not really even seeing anything. We're not really seeing any kind of coordination. They just kind of come at you and pop out of cover occasionally. They don't really do anything interesting.
Well, I mean, I'll note that, you know, Shepard's team doesn't do that either, so...
No, well,
They
no,
do a little
no,
bit
but,
actually.
Like, you can,
There's
I mean, you
combat
can...
taunts, there's enemies everywhere, but they don't really coordinate.
Well, you can, I mean, like, you can tell your squad where to go and stuff, but...
And they'll say
Yeah,
when they do
that's supposed to
something.
be supernatural protagonist powers. That's not like Shepard doesn't say, "Okay, use lift on that guy over there." He just clicks lift.
Crap, I thought I was done.
And then there was lift.
True.
Oh look, there is someone talking to Jador.
Yeah, you can occasionally...
Actually,
I think he's...
saying, "Oh shit."
That's basically what they're
Shepard.
saying. That's literally, that's really all they're saying. It's like a couple of scripted events.
Yeah, it's definitely scripted, no doubt about that.
Okay, so you
Well,
set up
and-
your commander.
We got to make it a...
Congratulations, You've
since we
just
brought-
done more communication than any other fighting force in the game.
Since we brought up the scripted thing, we should probably point out, yeah, there is a scripting in Half-Life 2. In fact, you know, Half-Life 2 is heavily scripted, but it all looks natural and
There's scripting and then there's
It's
good
not like,
scripting.
okay, this is a scripted moment. This is a gameplay moment. This is a scripted
Yeah.
moment. This is a gameplay moment. It's just like you're playing and then suddenly, oh crap, there go
Mass
the
Effect 3
chickens.
did better with that than Mass Effect 2 did.
Did better with what again? I'm sorry.
Scripting.
Oh.
Making this
Like-
moment stand out like a sore thumb. You mean?
Well, no. They're a little bit better integrated sometimes.
Okay, I
Well,
guess
like-
I'll have to prove it.
It's a little bit better. We'll see. So much fighting. Oh, rocket. Why are their rockets blue and glowing? I'm just vaguely curious.
Is it like a Mass Effect field?
I guess, but you can't normally see those.
This should slow him down.
Well, I guess you
that-
can with the bullets should glow too if they're Mass Effect fields.
Yeah,
Well, like
also
you see,
just
like you see the
get an
blue flashes.
explanation
You see
why
the
they're
blue.
so darn slow.
You see the blue flashes from the gun.
Impressive shot.
Morden, you're a moron. Did you see? Have you seen that yet?
He's a medical
Oh,
doctor. Yeah, he died.
He just charged in. How? I need to get to that much better
I'm crouching on the
cover.
other side of the cover from you.
Well, that worked went okay.
Not difficult, huh, Morden?
Oh god. I did not stand up. You stupid cover. Are you guys still there?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've never figured out how this works. Sometimes you get hurt by splash damage.
And
behind
sometimes you
cover,
don't?
Sometimes you don't, and I can never tell what the difference is.
Yeah. Did you see when I slid around the corner and I just stood up? That was nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was like a 2-second delay, so I was like, "What are you talking about?" And then you stood up. I was like, "Oh, okay."
And that was a significant amount of fighting
Yes,
there.
just thinking about the cover system in Human Revolution, I don't think it. Oh God, we're all the way.
Oh
Yeah.
no.
From. It was a long.
Oh, it's not
time.
quite as bad as I thought it was. It's still pretty
Aw,
bad
man.
though. And there was no time to quick save there either.
What were you saying, etc.?
No.
You're talking about Human Revolution.
Yeah, the cover in Human Revolution was not nearly that bad about popping you out.
The cover in that game confuses it. I was playing and I'm like, it's not what I'm used to because you have to
I mean,
hold the
crawling
button.
from cover to cover wasn't all that
Actually,
smooth,
you can
but
go.
it couldn't stand you up.
You can go into settings
And fix
switch
that, make it a toggle.
and make it a toggle. And what's really and what's nice about that, he was talking about, is like it doesn't throw you out. So like it's not contact sensitive. So until you push that button again, like you will
Stay in cover.
You will stay in cover, and it's I don't know. I actually I kind of like it. It
I
works
haven't
well,
played
at
much
least,
of Human Revolution yet. I'm having fun burning these dudes though.
But yeah, Human Revolution
Oh,
doesn't measure up to the original, but it's still.
Yeah, I thought considering the
Morden died again.
I thought all things considered, Revolution was an excellent I guess sequel or evolution or whatever you want to call it.
Engaging hostiles.
Yeah, I mean,
It could have been a
guess-
lot.
I think that might be a good game to talk about, RPGs. 'Cause, if you're talking about, standard RPG stuff, okay, you've got levels of Mass Effect,
Can't see him.
you've got party management, and you've got
Nope. There we go.
a lot more weapons, upgrades, and so on. And actually, are there upgrades in Mass Effect 2?
Kind of. Yeah, there are.
But yeah, I mean, Mass Effect 2's got a lot more of the window dressing that makes you say, oh, RPG. But if you're playing Human Revolution, there's a lot more choice, there's a lot more story, a lot better delivered story. You're not just gunning down waves of blue suns in quite the same.
Yeah,
quite the
definitely.
same way.
You're sneaking past the blue suns.
I actually got the
You
ghost
actually
achievement.
stealth every once in a while.
I actually I did like take the opportunity once to hack a terminal and like turn all their turrets on them, which was satisfying.
Yeah.
And see, you know,
I've lost visual.
and yet we call this an RPG and that.
It definitely is an RPG.
There's a lot.
Well,
People call Deus Ex Deus Ex a FPS.
It's.
It doesn't have levels. Well, it kind of has levels even.
like, I mean, you get experience and skills, so you kind of have that aspect, and then you do have the role-playing aspect. I think Human Revolution, does the role-playing way better. Like
Yeah.
the dialogue, quote unquote, wheel, whatever you want to call it, that weird little like honeycomb thing.
It actually tells you what you're gonna say.
Yeah.
It tells you what you're gonna. It tells you what you're gonna say, but
I felt railroaded by the dialogue choices in Human Revolution. And of course, you can hear our thoughts on dialogue railroading in this game every time we have to talk about servers. So
Yeah.
yeah, it feels very, especially during the boss conversations more than anything. The conversations feel very organic, and they actually do change and switch around. There could be like entire sections of the dialogue that you will miss because you took another route. And to be fair, the first Mass Effect game kind of did that.
But that's not good enough. BioWare is supposed to be all about RPGs, and if, the best you can
Yeah.
say for their flagship series is, well, the first game kind of did this better than this game made by a first-person shooter company,
Dang it.
That's not a good sign. It's not a good sign at all.
It's not really a first-person shooter, or it's not entirely a first-person shooter. There's more to it, I guess, but then we're also making
FPS, and, it's not from a company that's got a 30-year, 20-year, whatever, history of making RPGs.
Yeah, because that's all
Yeah.
BioWare's made until this point.
It's like
pretty much.
BioWare's made ever. All they do is RPGs, and they're being outmatched by Ubisoft's, Eidos Montreal, who is never. No, they're not a big RPG place, and they made a game that most people call an FPS, anyways. And the
Or
story
TPS.
is still miles ahead of this thing.
it's got it's definitely got FPS mechanics. I don't know if I would label it a pure. I don't know if I'd label it an FPS, but it does have FPS mechanics.
I'd call both of them RPGs. Just because.
And that's fair because there is actual roleplay involved.
Even in Mass Effect, there's enough of it that you can't call it and just a third-person shooter. I was gonna be very annoyed if those rockets killed me.
And I'm just saying, most mainstream commentators would call
Crap!
this RPG and Deus Ex an FPS. Maybe that's because the combat doesn't suck in Deus Ex.
Well, I don't know. Are you talking about Deus Ex or Human Revolution?
Or Human Revolution, yeah.
It drives me crazy how easy you can die in that game.
Yeah.
Well,
I will.
Yeah, but at the same time, if you're stealthing your way across it like I usually do,
Well, I typically stealth most of the time too. I occasionally pull out my gun in certain situations. I tend to do a little bit of both, mostly on the stealth side though.
I can't believe I died.
When you do get
Oh
into
my
a
god.
fight, I think it's way, even if you get the maximum ballistic armor upgrade, it's like you die in 2 seconds, and that's kind of frustrating.
I mean, if you want to run a gun, turn the difficulty down. It is really meant to be a stealth game, I think.
Yeah. Stealth's really
I don't have
important in
a
that game.
problem with that. I like stealth. As you could probably tell by the fact that I spent the entirety of last week talking about it. Whatever.
Very, very annoyed that I died there. I was so close. And there is no quick save in between here and there, so I just have to go through the last 5 minutes of fighting again.
Yeah, I mean, that said, I do definitely miss running gun. I wish there were more games that just gave you a health bar and didn't have to deal with this regenerating stuff, but it's not bad, and I think Deus Ex is one of the best implementations of it I've played.
Yeah.
Although I will say I also kind of like the hybrid system that you got in the original Halo.
I enjoyed that. I really wish, I think that the first Halo is my favorite out of all of them, but I really do wish that there was more to the game. It's really all it is just shooting, and there
Yeah.
there's a sandbox element to it. There's, as far as like shooters
see, I
go,
mean,
especially shooters in the past decade, it's got a really good sandbox to it. And there's like with the different weapons and whether or not you go into a vehicle or whatever, it's great in that regard. But there's still, at the end of the day, all it is shooting. And I wish there was like, I don't know, like puzzles or something to mix it up.
I don't know. I like my puzzle games, like my RPGs, but I am definitely a big fan of the old school shooters.
Like the Doom and things like that.
In order of games, I think my first shooters would be, let's see, probably Halo or Doom 3 first, then the other, and then Half-Life.
Fire in the hole!
So, I've got a pretty good... I definitely have a soft spot for old school shooters.
Yeah, I think I guess I'm kind of.
And that's
Ever since I played Half-Life 2, I guess I guess I've been wishing that Halo was more like Half-Life
2. I mean, I think they're pretty complementary as far as that goes,
Half-Life
I
1,
really
or
like
not
the
Half-Life.
environments in the original Halo. Certainly a lot more than I did in Half-Life
Yeah.
2.
I like Halo 1 had a fair amount of variety. It got repetitive occasionally, but there was variety.
Halo 1 had these, nice, big grassy environments.
Yeah.
You see grass in a game. How often do you see open space in a game?
I thought the atmosphere. I thought the atmosphere in the first Halo was great. It felt like you were actually alone on this alien ring world. Like I remember, actually feeling like I was on this ring, and feeling, especially when the flood came, like feeling alone. Holy crap! I am the last human on this ring.
Flood are scary sometimes.
See, I would actually say that I kind of like the opposite of that. When you're with your squad mates, you're doing vehicle sections, or you're hanging around with those big metal things. After you land, you're with your squad.
They do a decent job of characterizing the Marines.
Yeah, I mean,
They got fun quips.
Especially since it's like...
It's not just the Marines. I actually think there was more character in the Covenant grunts than there was in any meathead you'll care to point at in, say, Call of Duty.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and like you have a wide variety of enemy types that do different they do different things, and you have to take them down differently. Like like the Jackals, for example, with their shields, you have to flank those guys. Like the grunts are your fodder. The Jackals are like,
For Jackals, I usually just pistol sniped in where their gun was.
Yeah,
pretty much.
Especially in Halo 1. Conversation.
I shut down
We actually have to talk to something.
I saw it was you. Never thought I'd say it, but I'm glad it's you shooting up the place.
Wait, you let her go in the first game?
You
Yeah.
let me go when you
I told her to run,
Vermont,
remember?
Vermont.
And she actually
Oh, yeah,
gets out.
right.
To outrun a nuke in a utility pod, but
See?
still
Yeah, that is
a
a funny
fine.
I want to
cutscene.
know how she. I want to know
No
how
one in
she
Sarah's
got
lab
away
is
from a
worth
nuclear
saving.
explosion
Bringing that
and
up
where
won't
she got a
help you
ship.
Yep.
Magic.
I'm not proud of what went on
Unless there
there,
was a ship
but
at the
I'm
base
using
that
what
she
we
took.
learned
I
for
don't
greater
know.
good.
Because Mass Effect's
Not for
version of
noobs.
continuity in
Tutorials
save
on
games
standard
is
power trip.
bringing up random
But up
cameos
here,
from
he's trying to do
everyone you
something
meet.
good, even if his methods
Small
are a little
universe.
Extreme.
Extremely small universe.
Everyone deserves a second chance, right?
So right here, she
And
is
sometimes
talking
giving
about
up is
how
I take care of
she
my
is
debts.
helping Okir.
What's Okir trying to do?
I guess she's being, I
It's
don't know, I guess she's
complicated.
being like a mother
Shador
figure or
wants a
something to the
private
Krogan
army,
that
but
he's
Okir
creating,
mostly ignores it.
and
He's
she
running
like,
projects
she
for
believes
his
in
own
what he's
reasons.
doing even though
I
it's
created
quote
a
unquote
mental implant
extreme.
routine to educate
Yeah.
his tank bred.
Look, my degree is in
Most
mad
don't get
science.
through
Where
it.
else was I gonna
He
get
dumps them
work?
for some reason.
Yeah, tell me about it.
But here's, you know what's really
He wants to
weird?
help his
Her
people,
skin
but
tone
he's
is
not
completely
looking for
different. Like in the
decades
first
to,
one,
and
she
he's
was
not
just
going
this
for
very,
numbers.
like,
That's all I
deep
know.
blue-green or green-blue, and here she's
Time to
very
run
light
again,
blue.
Lana. You never know
And
what I might
it
blow
kind
up
of,
next.
it's like, really? You couldn't,
Suppose I
like,
can't expect a warm goodbye
bother
after the
to,
last
like,
mess.
you know, port over
Don't
the
worry.
old model and
I'm
clean
staying
it
the hell
up?
away from
Yeah.
whatever you do and wherever you
That would mess with me if
go.
I
Thanks anyway,
noticed.
Shepard.
Which
I mean,
didn't.
the
I'm all for
tattoos
second
are all,
chances.
the tattoos are
I'm
on her
so
face
sure
and
I'm
head
third.
are all correct, but, like, her skin tone is completely off.
Oh, more hacking. Great. Well, that was
Okay,
fast.
now that we are done with the RPG and back to the third-person shooter.
Yeah.
It's
Really.
yeah, it's funny. It is very segregated like that. Like conversation, shoot people. Actually, shoot people, shoot people, shoot people, shoot people. Conversation.
Oh, great. We're here.
Actually,
Amazing.
we're really lucky here. We have conversation, conversation, and then shoot people.
It's about time. The batteries on these tanks will not wait while you play with these idiotic mercs.
Not the smartest way to greet the heavily armed group that just kicked in your door.
So I think we already introduced Okir, and he's the mad scientist.
Yeah,
No one
trying to make...
sends for me without a motive.
I guess we haven't technically said exactly what he wants to do.
Surprised. All Krogan should know you. I'm sure Ron
I like
has
Okir,
already
though.
visited
He's
your
not the
actions
typical
on
Krogan.
Vermire.
What do you know? We've got
I'm sure you're
Morden
eager to
coming
retell the
face to
story.
face with a Krogan scientist.
And they haven't even noticed each other yet.
Threatens the return of the Krogan
And later,
horde,
you know,
during
later
the
in the game,
Genophage,
Morden is gonna
undoing
say,
the
"Never
gentle
met Krogan,"
genocide of the
you know.
Turians and
Never met a
Krogan
Krogan
scientist.
scientist? Yeah. And Okir's actually a decent scientist.
In a way, I mean, like he really does, like, I mean, like,
It is a shame he couldn't find anyone better to work for than Blue Suns, but yeah, he certainly doesn't seem bad.
he is he definitely
Makes
has
no
kind of
apology.
like this
It's the most
eugenics
efficient
bent to
solution.
him, where he talks about a pure Krogan, like making a pure true Krogan, when really there's like, you know, there's technically no such there's technically no such thing. I mean, there's desirable traits, and he is like, I guess he's farming desirable traits to make
Yeah.
a, you know, a desirable, a optimal Krogan. There's really no such thing as pure, so there's kind of a weird eugenics bent to that.
Personal issues.
But he's a mad scientist, so
He's
emphasis
definitely a
on the
mad scientist.
Emphasis on the mad, so
attacks have increased. A human concern.
So I still don't understand why the collectors are even that big of a deal when the Reapers are coming. That's one of the biggest problems for me with the Mass Effect 2 plot.
well, considering
Well, if there
that
weren't
they are,
collectors, who's gonna buy the special edition?
I mean, like I don't know, they're kidnapping human colonies. That seems to be
What did you get from the collectors? I need
enough.
whatever
But
about
you know, there really is. You bring up an interesting thing where with the collectors, it is kind of. I think they could have made it work, but as it stands, it is kind of a distraction. When if you were to propose that the trilogy would be Episode 1, learn of the Act 1, learn of the threat. 2, learn how to stop the threat. 3, stop the threat.
They failed miserably because there is
And-
nothing in Mass Effect 2.
And yeah, you don't learn anything. I think they could have made
I'm
the
getting you out of
collectors
Cerberus has interrogators
like
who
work
can
a little
figure out if
better,
they're
but
useful or
I
not.
don't want to get too far ahead
Yeah.
just yet, so I'll save that for later.
We'll talk about the collectors at Horizon.
You know, if
And
we spent most of the time with the collectors and then a little bit of time with the Reapers, that would work better than the way the game is actually set up, which is you spend a lot of time with Blue Suns and a little time with the collectors.
Yes, that's... Yes.
The collectors, they collect trains.
I like how the Sentinel armor looks like it. Why is hers blue? Isn't it usually orange? Never mind.
It's her hologram helmet.
Yeah, but yeah.
Kill my legacy with a damn valve.
So she's venting the tanks?
I don't know what she's doing exactly.
She'll try to access
Yeah,
contaminants into
and you know, I'm not
storage
going.
First, the polarity, it doesn't
Sorry,
matter.
Doctor.
BioWare doesn't
It
care.
appears your position is
And
just
like
weakened.
Okir says, I will stay and do what must be done, and he somehow like sacrificed himself so that Grunt can live. I want to know what he did, because I'm really confused as to what exactly happened.
I assume he just waited longer to... He
I
just
will
stayed
die
here and
soon,
let him
but
out.
It's a pretty
I
classic
wonder-
cliche.
I bet you that you can just stay here and you will never die, despite the fact that stuff's happening. Because I got the impression something was getting vented into the what is that thing? Okay,
It's
getting
the
vented
illusion
into
of
the room.
urgency. Every game has that.
Games. See, the thing is, I don't know whether
Behind the door. She's having a really bad day. You've got to give her the chance to vent.
Oh my god.
Take it.
You're terrible.
And I wish to point out that Grunt looks completely different. He's got like totally different armor, and he doesn't have the plate, and it's very obvious that he's the squad member.
I love the unique look. I wish all Krogans didn't really look the same. Like, I mean, even Okir is a
Yeah.
generic model.
What's weird is that plate is different colors. Like I've seen green plates on their head, and it's weird.
Oh yeah, he's got slightly different.
Yeah, I know.
Remember
It's like a
that the
sorry
Krogan
being
don't
different
actually
colors.
have that much breeding population. I would expect to see a lot of very similar looking Krogan getting.
Yeah.
With no chins.
And here they'd all look the same, for sure, because they're like clones and stuff.